Good morning, everyone. I am Ms. Cannon. I am the staffing specialist and the magnet coordinator at Orlando Gifted Academy. I know some of you have been emailing with me and chatting with me through that, but seeing as we're in a unique situation, I felt like I would give you an opportunity to see our school a virtual way. This is our auditorium. Our school was built in around 1947, so we are one of the only schools left that actually has a full auditorium that most schools don't have because they've been torn down and they don't exist like this anymore. So we actually have a full-on stage with when we do our choir presentations and music. So this is where we start our meetings normally, and we ask questions. So anyway, this is our start of our tour. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through every grade level, and so you can get a feel for our campus, and we're going to go through the media center, all the specials classrooms, and then we will be, you can still always email me with a question. My email is dawn, D-A-W-N, .cannon, C-A-N-N-O-N, at ocps.net. So we're going to walk out this way. We're going to start in second grade. Now this is a little different because obviously the children aren't in learning, but we're going to find ways for you to see cool activities that are going on in the school at the same time, we hope. So like I said, we're going to walk to a second grade classroom. It's going to be a second grade math classroom, and I will scan the room and let you see some of the cool things that are going on. Okay, so this is a second grade science and math classroom. So obviously she has set up her room to clean as we left for spring break. So her room is clean, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the things that they have been doing. Obviously they were doing some shapes, so you can see that. There are some posters that are very lively. Here was her agenda. There were her different standards that she was working on. Here's her project-based learning that they were working on before they left. And I think that's one of the lovely things about our school, that every grade level is actually working on project-based learning, and they are taking things to a deeper level. We still have to follow the standards because we're in Orange County Public School, but because our children have some sort of knowledge of the information, we're able to dig deeper and take that into ability to engage them and keep them involved in the rigor. So this is a second grade science and math classroom. We are now going to walk to a second grade language arts classroom. So this is the second grade language arts classroom, and like I said, once again, she has cleaned her room to be prepared for spring break, and obviously we were ready to come back. The children have been doing writing and different creative projects. This was an internet bridge that she built for clusters that we had last semester right before Christmas, and she was the cluster teacher for this. Her room is actually set up like Star Wars, so it's kind of fun. Obviously, she was ready to come back this week, and we were starting to emphasize writing with them. So this is, like I said, this is the other second grade classroom. Every grade level at our school, second grade, has two teachers, and they're departmentalized. One teacher teaches math and science, and the other teacher teaches reading and social studies. So, and there's only two teachers in second grade. Every other grade level, third through fifth, has two teams of two teachers. So there's four teachers on every grade level. This is the only grade level that only has two teachers, but we would like to get more second graders and change that up a little bit. Now we're entering a fifth grade science classroom. Before we left for the break, they were actually getting ready to start the human body. So if the room is set up to engage the children in every form with the student body, with the human body and what it does. Once again, like I said, the classrooms are ready to come back from after spring break, so things are not where they necessarily would be, and things would not be as moving forward. But like I said, this is a 5th grade science classroom. It's a very lively classroom when there are children in here. The teacher is very engaging. They are working hard. The next classroom we're going to go visit is a 5th grade reading classroom. We are now entering a 5th grade reading and social studies classroom. Mr. Burnett, the teacher in this room, does all of his reading lessons through social studies. And what they are doing, they started with the early colonial periods, and they have been working their way up. When we came back, the year would have been 1800, and they would have been moving from there. His chess boards, the classroom is set up in their groups. See, very engaging, very creative. This classroom, when we are in here, it is so wonderful to watch the children. They are debating, and they are working as teams to really focus on those thinking outside the box. For example, here are his dictations, what freedom meant to them, how were the colonies similar and different, what was significant, who were the significant individuals in the American Revolution, how they contribute. Like I said, this is a very interesting classroom to come in and watch when the children are in here and see what they are really learning about our Constitution and how our world became what it is. It's a great classroom. So this is our library. Our media library clerk has done an amazing job. She is ordering books from the primary to the young adult level, seeing as we will be a full 8th grade campus at the end of 2 years now. We will be getting 7th grade this year, and the following year 8th grade. This mural that was painted, Ms. Dispenza had someone come in and paint it for our children to engage their thought processes to a level of warm and inviting. And over here we have makerspace. It is my understanding that potentially our makerspace may be actually moving to a classroom, but from right now we have all the ability for them to work here as makerspace. They're allowed to come in with their classes. Every teacher is welcome to it. They have STEM kits and coding kits, and they're obviously able to make things. So this is our makerspace at this point. Lots of things are going to be changing for next school year. Rooms will be changing. We're going to go over to another room that has been put in place for the children. This is a creative room where they are able to obviously do with their clusters. They've been able to learn how to sew. They have made crickets. They have actually even made their own t-shirts and pillows and all their just these creative ideas that they're starting, all the crafts that they can use to make these things. Like I said, once again, think with an open mind. We were ready for spring break and to come back. But the children have actually, there was a crafting group, and they actually made shirts, and they really love it, and it's become a great little outlet for them. This area right here is a little butterfly garden that last year one of our 4th grade teachers and her group, they planted all these plants, and we have a butterfly garden. The hearts that you see over on the wall is a project from our art teacher. She thought it would be kind if we had hearts everywhere. So the children learned, oh, there's a butterfly flying. They made hearts all over the walls and the fence, and they're everywhere around our campus. She also did a dream catcher where she recycled hula hoops. But this is a little area that parents can have lunch with their children and enjoy the beauty of the butterflies and just the garden. This is actually a chalk wall, so they have drawn on it to have, and we have changed up. The rain has blown some of the things away, but this is like, it's a chalk wall, so they can draw various art projects on here. So this is a courtyard area that in the previous schools I've been here, they have made it where you have sitting areas. There's obviously picnic tables, and our teachers come out here instead of having the children be in the classroom every day. They come out here and they sit and they do projects. I know 5th grade did a weather project, so they were out here quite often doing the weather project. Then they started when they did start the human body, they were out here doing physical activity outside their classroom, jump roping, taking their heart rates, and things like that. So now we're going to step into a 4th grade language arts classroom. And when we left, she was actually having the children do their own versions of fairy tales. So they were recording in a little green room. She was doing projects. This is where they were doing theirs. They were analyzing their multicultural folk tales, their essential question, their paragraph modeling. So this is her classroom. The classrooms, yes, are very big. Like I said, there are 2 teachers on each team. So this is one team of the language arts teacher. The math teacher is beside her. And the other 4th grade team is a language arts and math teacher as well. We're going to leave this area. We're going to walk, and we're going to go ahead and go to a 3rd grade classroom. So this is another little area of our school that previously has been a garden, and we are trying to make it come back as a garden. Obviously, some of the trees have been trimmed before we left for the holiday, which I'm not quite sure what they look like right now. But we've got fruit trees. We have got, I think this is a loquat tree, but before we left for the break, the 4th grade gardening club started planting tomatoes and chives. Some of the chives are still here, so obviously they took off. Some of the others we still have to get some work on. We have a mango tree over here. We actually have a starfruit tree that is finished producing starfruit right before I left for spring break. There were a ton of them. And then obviously there's this little pavilion area where teachers can sit with their children, do outside reading activities, or allow them to work in groups. This area over here is a smaller playground that our 2nd and 3rd grade teachers can use, but we'll see the bigger playground, and most of the time they prefer to go to the bigger playground, but we do have 2 playground areas on our campus. This is a 3rd grade math classroom, math and science and social studies. Actually, I overspoke. She displays their work. She does their strategies, the atlas. Once again, everybody was ready to come back from spring break and really start working with our children on the next things. Obviously, the books she has got arranged according to the chapter books and what types of books they are. Some scales for some things that they must have been working on. This group, I do believe they were doing different cultures, and obviously this little boy's, you can't really read it, but it says the facts of the Incas, and they worked in a group to get that accomplished. They were working on fractions, which they really seemed to be liking before we left for the holiday. So this is a 3rd grade math classroom. Classrooms are all very big. They do have a restroom inside each room, so the children don't have to leave and walk to go to a restroom. This is one of the joys of having an older school, that our rooms are this big and lots of light and brightness. And this was just something they had outside, so when the children were waiting, they could work on some things. And this is outside her door. This is a 3rd grade language arts classroom. Understanding characters. Once again, large classroom, flexible seating. And ready to come back. We are ready for our children. They were all working on some comparing and some contrasting, some main ideas. So this is 3rd grade classroom. One of the middle school section, this is our middle school section, they have their own section of the school. The primary grades are at the front of the school, and 6th grade and 7th grade have the back. This is a little area they have been keeping up with to make it warm and inviting for themselves. We do have plenty of space for the children that are in the middle school wing. They do not have to walk with their teacher. They go to lunch by themselves. Well, not by themselves, there's an adult in there supervising them. But they are able to transition between classes just like they would in a typical middle school. Just the number of children are not as many as the others. And they actually have tomatoes growing in their little garden that they've planted. They are actually working with a nonprofit group to keep this area lively and inviting.
Five, six, 7, 8. Frame drum, here we go. Talking drums, high low, high low, high low. Shake raise, 1, 2, are you ready? Bada bum, bada bum, bada bum, bada bum.
This is our music classroom. Mr. Lovelet is a great teacher. They have Orff instruments, they have world drumming. World drumming, we are the only middle school in the county that has this as our program. Because our school is so much smaller, this is what we decided to do for our 6th graders. And he actually went and did the training and has amazing lessons. When he does do performances, he has the world drumming, he has the Orff instruments, and he has choir all up on the stage. So we can have anywhere from, 50 to 120 children up on the stage at one time, and they are all engaged and they are all very excited to be there. But once again, this is our music classroom. This is a 6th grade science classroom. They have all the microscopes set out. This was a bridge that she did for a SECME project. They have not taken it apart yet. I believe they actually got 2nd place with this bridge. So those are opportunities for them as well. Obviously, this is them working on some of their science things. Her wall. She is a very engaging teacher. She does a lot with the smart board, as well as hands-on, as well as some journaling. So this is a 6th grade science classroom. And apparently they were working on cell theory, because a few of these are ready to start for the next 9 weeks. So this is a project that our art teacher did as one of the clusters. It is the hubcap flower garden. She had the children and herself, they found hubcaps on the side of the road or wherever, and they recycled them and made a garden with them. She is actually still getting hubcaps, and the goal is to get them around to as many areas of the school as we possibly can. And now we're just going to take a little stroll into her classroom. So this is the art classroom. All these up here are the last cluster that they did. They learned how to weave, to sew, and well, I don't know what this is going to be for her next creative project, but they're obviously with recycled water bottles. They kind of look like Chihuly art, so I imagine that's what her next activity is going to be. Over here is a little bit more of the things that they learned. They obviously were making weaving and embroidery. So these are just some of the things that she does that are outside the box. Obviously scanning her room does not do this room justice. It is creative and inviting and an area where the children just can have an outlet to be as creative and outside the box as they would like to be. So this is our PE area. From the pavilion all the way over to these basketball courts is the area that our wonderful PE teacher has to work with the children. Far off over there is where the playground is. Every grade level, but the middle school goes to the playground every day. Our PE teacher, I'm not quite sure how she does it, but all of our children love to come out here. She is engaging with them. She actually gets them to do activities that are lovely to come out here and hear them laughing and playing and strategizing, team activities, and it's just a lovely place for them as well. This is one of my favorite rooms, even though it's a tiny cafeteria. Obviously it's the original cafeteria, but we serve breakfast and lunch. Most of our children do bring their lunch, but we do have a full kitchen that they are able to go to every day. If you look around, you notice that all of our tables are round tables, and that was done on purpose because we wanted our children not only to be able to come in here and eat their lunch, we wanted them to be able to continue to engage in those deep conversations with their peers that should not have to stop during lunch because they are sitting at a straight table. If you look at the back wall here, our art teacher that we just left her room last summer, she had people come in and they helped create murals around the school with her using bright colors to make it warm and inviting, but this is our cafeteria. Hi again, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on our virtual tour of Orlando Gifted Academy. Once again, my name is Dawn Cannon. I am the staffing specialist and magnet coordinator. My email address is dawn, DAWN.cannon, CANN, @ocps.net. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a most wonderful day.